Hello, everybody. So we're here. We're at the end of the season. I think probably we did not expect to end the season the way that we have today, 12th place, which is insane. Crazy end to the season. Crazy season in general. How is everybody? Are we all good? How are we feeling after that game?
I'm just glad it's over.
Yeah, me too.
It feels like literally. I know it feels like the longest season ever. I'm just so glad that it's finally done with, and that I'm quite happy that we were in. Well, obviously, I expected to finish in 13th place, but obviously Shah's pen got us up to 12th on goal difference. But I'm just so pleased that it's over. I'm so happy. I can relax. Well, I can't relax because in about, is it 2 weeks or 1 week the transfer window opens, and then we have the daunting life of Newcastle are interested in them, but they've just gone and got them. These people now want to buy Maxi and all that stuff. But I'm so glad it's over.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I felt really met about today, to be honest. I hate to feel like that, but I just sort of like Katie. I wanted it over. It was a bit of a. I know we finished 12th, but for me, it felt like a bit of a nothing game. It wasn't the most entertaining of games, but I think because the atmosphere was awful. Like there was no noise at all. I'd rather have had fake crowd noise on or just something to keep it going because there was like no atmosphere at all. But I mean the win.
And the end was so awkward.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't get the way that they did the seating. I was quite shocked the way they did the actual seating at Grove Cottage. Like literally the I don't know what the stands are called, but the main stand obviously had no one in it. It was just obviously the two ends of each goal. And I was like,
it was empty. Yeah, I saw that, and the one on the other side, like opposite to that's getting like rebuilt or something because there was just pure scaffolding everywhere.
Yeah,
I know. I was just like, I thought, do you know what? You could have had. Surely that wasn't their capacity. I don't know what their capacity is on a full ground anyway, but surely that wasn't at the actual COVID capacity because they could have spaced them out in that main stand and they just didn't.
Yeah, 100%. But it would have been nice to finish on a home game. We came 12th, but obviously, we wouldn't have known at this point. I honestly thought a few weeks ago that we would be getting relegated at Fulham. So,
Well, no, didn't we all? Didn't everyone think, oh shit, it's going to come down to the last game of the season? It was nice, to be fair, to go into it knowing that we weren't being relegated, knowing that there was no pressure on it. But normally, last game of the season, I don't know, I get dead emotional about it because the footy's going to stop. But I didn't really feel anything today. It was just, and I think that because most of the other bigger games that were on today, they were playing at home, so they had real atmosphere.
Yeah, and it was glorious and stuff as well, wasn't it? So I
just think we didn't have that, but it was a good. I didn't expect to win. I missed most of the game because I was on the telephone.
Me too.
Are you in 1965? What's that about? The telephone.
Telephone.
I don't even know why I call it the telephone. I shouldn't ever call it the telephone. It's because I'm so sophisticatedly posh, darlings. You don't actually know. Well, I actually speak like this. This is actually my correct tongue. Oh my god, tongue. They say tongue down here. It's tongue. Because I was on the phone basically for most of the game. Unfortunately, I didn't want to be on the phone. I was trying to watch it, and but no, yeah. I feel a bit sorry for Fulham. It's never good to have never good to be relegated, but
but half their team isn't even theirs. Like I was looking at all those players and thinking they're not going to be there next season.
No,
half their team is on loan.
So many players on loan. They do a serious transfer window if they want to.
We had seven loan players, and I didn't even know that was possible. So they deserve it. I have no love for them. And their stadium shit.
I don't have any love for the actual thing. I just think I always have a little bit of sympathy for the fans, to be fair. Not like the ones that are all like in your face and stuff, but like the young kids that go and that's their team and they're probably excited, and then it's like, oh, you're going down. Sorry, I'll be over it in an hour.
Especially to finish on like a loss as well. Although I had no sympathy for that fan that sounded like an absolute foghorn. He was doing my eardrums. He kept on. Like, how long did he have that note come out? Like, how is that even possible? And it was so loud.
It was so loud. At one point, I actually thought it was Bruce. I was like, I've never heard him shout like that, so it wasn't him. But honestly, Northeast Pro sums it up so well. Longest season ever, yet it's officially been the shortest season ever, which lasted just over 250 days. That is exactly
ridiculous. It literally has been. Actually, if you said to me when did the season start, I'd be like, oh, it's been going on for 2 years.
Yeah.
And it has been the shortest. And we went through obviously so many of them weeks when we were playing 2 games a week.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, we've got football again. But then that feels now like it was like over a year ago.
I'm going to be so bored. Like, I'm actually going to have to...
Nah, you won't.
I'm going to actually have to do the jobs that I've been putting off.
No, you won't. You've obviously... The problem is now is that we'll get lost into a rabbit hole of transfers. And obviously, as per tradition, whenever summer hits, the talk of takeovers become centre stage again. So you won't get lost. You'll find yourself arguing more than ever, probably. You just won't be doing it at the actual football.
I'm not getting myself involved in takeover Twitter ever again. It's not happening unless the takeover goes through and I see an official statement. I don't care. I don't want people wearing Saudi outfits going about. I don't want people wearing things that just relate to Mike Ashley. I don't want anything to know. I want to be blissfully unaware of things that are happening, because how bad was it last year when everyone started arguing with each other over like stupid things and everyone just ended up hating each other over a takeover that never even happened. Like, that's how funny it was. Everyone's still arguing over something that hasn't happened. It's just crazy, absolutely crazy.
To be fair, I don't think we'll be invited to talk about it this year.
Ooh, burn. Oh, that tickled me. I do get to go. That's why I said, obviously, on the Voldemort show, that, again, that's about the actual show name before anyone starts kicking off about us, that I was just not getting involved. And anytime I was asked a question about it, I was just like, don't know what you're talking about. Not interested.
I did, yeah, of course. I mean, I found myself in the middle of not arguing about the takeover, but just arguing about people arguing about the takeover. That's what I was about. Like, why is everyone arguing and getting dragged in elsewhere? Joshy says, Josh.
Hi, Joshy.
That's a new nickname for him.
Like Yoshi off Super Mario. We have got a couple of questions. Peter, I will come back to your question shortly because I am gonna, if I can speak, I am going to ask a couple of questions and things like that. John Turner says, can we all agree Federico Fernandez doesn't get the praise he deserves, being a brick wall at the heart of defence? Yeah, I think he was last season as well. I think he played every game of last season. So obviously he was injured a little bit this season. But yeah, I love Fedi. I think he's brilliant. And he's my first choice centre back in my opinion for me on the starting sheet.
Yeah, I absolutely love him. Always feel a sense of security when I know he's playing.
Yeah, exactly.
As secure as you can when it's the Newcastle defence.
Not true.
Based on that, obviously,
some form, not like entirety, just some form.
Would you sell Jamal Lascelles in the summer?
Yes.
Yep.
That's a resounding yes.
Yes.
Thank God. It's yes as well. So at least I'm not just being horrible and being like, yes, I would sell it. But no, honestly, I really do think that for me, out of the defenders, he's probably the most tangible asset that we've got in terms of like a team will want him. Because if I ever speak to any fans who like don't really watch Newcastle on a regular basis, they're always like, oh, Jamal Lascelles is a really good defender. And I'm like, is he? Okay.
I don't know whether it's because he's obviously been injured quite a bit. But I don't know. I find this quite bad really. Is that a lot of the time when I think of like someone says to me, oh, who's the captain? I have to think about it. You shouldn't ever have to think about who the captain is of your team. Yeah. They should stand out like a sore thumb, whether that's on the pitch or off the pitch.
We haven't really heard from him much either, like while he's been injured. You know, like other captains kind of keep up to date, you know, on social media and whatever. And we know that he has it. So I don't know why he hasn't really been keeping up to date or anything. I mean, I haven't seen any tweets from him today about the end of the season or anything like that. But, so I'm not saying he hasn't said anything today, but I haven't seen anything in the past. Obviously, we'll speak about Willock as well, because again, he has equalled Alan Shearer's record of scoring in row. Do we think?
31 seconds.
What'd she say?
Oh.
I don't know. Do we think that we are gonna sign him, or if we do you think it'll be a season-long loan? Or do we think that's just the end? That's the last game we've ever seen in a Newcastle shirt?
I was just watching, actually, just before I came on, his interview after the game. And for me, he was like, oh, it's really bittersweet because I'd love to play more for this season for Newcastle. And to me, it seemed a little bit like he was trying to say he wasn't coming back. I hope that's not what it actually is, because I'd absolutely love us to sign him or even get him on a loan for another season. I'd be quite happy with.
Yeah.
But I've just seen little rumbles about like Arteta's interested in looking at him pre-season and things, and we just never get that sort of luck. Look at all the loan players that we've lost and we've all been really gutted about. And so like still Willem's name's being slung around like he's coming back, and it's like the takeover.
His name's going to be in transfer news for Newcastle forever ever until the end of time, until he retires.
Yeah, 100%. Like, and I was really hopeful in January. I was like, yeah, he's coming to us finally, brilliant. And then it was on transfer day when someone tweeted him, and there's like, oh, so you want to plane over to Newcastle? He's like, no. So all right, he's mugged us all off because he's been implying that he might be.
Yeah, he was tweeting all the time, like acting like he was coming, and then someone was like, are you signing for Newcastle, Jetro? And he was like, no. I'm not anywhere near it. But he's apparently still good friends with St. Maximin, so you know, if St. Maximin leaves, then bye Jetro Willems as well, I suppose. Obviously, Stress Free says, evening ladies, greetings from Hamburg. Shout out you. No football, no fear. We've got the Euros in 3 weeks' time. I mean, I'm excited for the Euros, for like the tournament, but I'm not excited to see Southgate ball because it's like on par with Brucey ball. So I'm not excited for that. Josh says, where's your tune shirt, Sav?
Well, we had a little conversation about this beforehand, didn't we? I have got an issue where my face is orange, but the rest of me is quite pearly white because we're in lockdown. I can't be bothered to fake tan. And by this time of the year, I usually am, but I'm not doing it. It's so expensive. So I've had to put this hoodie on. I've got a fan next to me, which sounds like I'm at an airport and a plane's about to take off, cooling me down because I am sweltering. I tried to open the window behind me and everything flew off the windowsill. That was another one of my... So I've had to close that and get the fan on. But yeah, that's why. Otherwise, I would have it on. I'll try and get a fake tan on and wear it at some point.
Amazing. Well, we don't need to until August.
No,
so you're okay. Yeah, Brian says here, who would have put us on 45 points in 12th place 6 weeks ago? Guess what? I was just about to say, Sam, that's you, because Sam did put us on ending the season on 45 points, and I think she did say 12th or 13th to finish the season on. So, yeah, Sam, are you surprised that your predictions have come true?
Yeah. At the start of the season, like nobody could have predicted what it would have been like, and we didn't start too badly, and then we had the implosion. I really did feel like we would get the points, but I thought it would have been because Bruce got sacked, because I've always believed there's a team there are players, there is a work rate, and I just was, like everyone else, so frustrated that it just looked like Bruce couldn't get that out. He just couldn't get the team to express themselves, and changing formation, changing players, playing players that were out of form, all those things that, you know, we've been seeing the whole time. But I felt like if there was a change that it would have come good. I was very surprised to get the points spot on, and credit where credit's due. We have finished the season strongly. But yeah, I mean, I won't be analysing the season at any point, but I think if you did do an analysis of the season, what a fucking mess it's been. But as people have said, like, we imploded for 20 games and we finished above 8 other teams. Like, that tells you all you need to know about this season. I mean, I didn't know we finished 12th until about 10-15 minutes after the game. And I'm just so surprised that teams like Southampton that were top at one point, Palace looked like they pulled away a little bit. We finished above both those teams. You know, Brighton, that have been the best, you know, one of the best football sides under Graham Potter for a couple of years, finished above them as well. I just don't know how it's happened, but I'm grateful, I'm thankful, I'm delighted. I just don't know how it's happened.
Yeah, I think, well, obviously, I think we slightly, obviously, the turn in tactics, playing, you know, a 5 at the back or a 3 at the back, however you want to look at it, with the wing backs. Obviously, the introduction of Joe Willock has helped a lot, but still, to help us get to 12th, when, you know, at some points we just thought, well, that was it, we're down now. I was tweeting Sky Bet Championship, like, hello. I just that's where we're going to be. I was like psyching myself up. I was like, you know what? The last season I enjoyed was the championship. Let's go there. We're fine. But really, I didn't want to be. But we clearly were. Yeah, Greg says here, all the takeover stuff will resurface. It probably will. Expecting it. It hasn't even ever gone under the surface for like a year now. So I'm expecting it all to get worse, probably. Laura says, I think the season has aged me 5 years. Yeah. Shout out Laura as well. Amazing. Yeah, I think she seriously has. Not you, Laura. You haven't aged just 5 years.
Bloody hell, woman.
Yes. The football's age is 5 years. We've got a question from Greg here. What do you make of 70 million for ASM? I assumed it would maybe be 50. I didn't expect 70. You know, the current situation in the current market, I don't think anyone's paying 70 million for St. Maximin. In my opinion, even 50 was maybe pushing it. Laura's just said blocked. So sorry. I did mean the football, not you. But yeah, what do you guys think? Katie, what do you think? Is 70 million too much? Is it about right? Is it good because then we won't lose him because no one's going to pay that?
No, I reckon if you look at it from a Newcastle-based performance, it's a bit much. But I think that if you picked him up and put him in another team, like Liverpool or City, then it's too little, because he would just flourish with who he had around him. I don't think, based on what he said on TalkSport, I personally don't think that he would actually go anywhere. I think I sort of got the impression that it's another season and then that's it, if we literally are still scraping. That's the impression that I got. So I think if he's going to go anywhere, he's going to end up going to a big club who don't really seem to have shown much interest, or he's going to go abroad. But exactly as proud to be a Geordie. If we lose him, we're fucked.
Yeah, basically. So, Arsenal paid 72 million for Pepe, and ASM's left foot is better than him. I price that could be 100 million. I mean, I wish. I wish, because then we would definitely have him for the rest of his life. So that'll be absolutely fine. St. Maximin's that club will be Liverpool to replace Mane. Maybe. I hope not. If he goes, I want it to not be in the Premier League, because then I can handle it better. Like, this is what I've said so many times. Like, I can handle it better if he goes to, you know, abroad, maybe back to France, maybe Spain, whatever. I can handle it better if he goes there. I can't deal with seeing one of the best players that we've had at the club for several years, you know, the one that's been related to Hatem Ben Arfa a lot. I can't see him go to not a rival, but like a Premier League rival, and just smash it, because it just makes me annoyed. Like, I just get irrationally.
That's exactly what it was like with Andy Cole. When you saw Andy Cole go, and it was just literally like, I hate Man United even more. Because they basically took our player and just took him away. So I wouldn't want him to go to an English club. I do think the price tag is probably right, because I think that he's just not performed based and it's amazingly in every single game, purely based on what he's got around him. Add the ones around him, his goal tally would be a hell of a lot up, his assists would be a hell of a lot more.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, we're going to chat about this here as well. Newcastle's biggest mistake was getting rid of Ivan Toney. Now, we know that Brentford are the playoff finals with Swansea. Both sides have got Newcastle players. Well, Ivan Toney's ex-Newcastle. Obviously, Freddie Woodman is still our goalkeeper. So first of all, Sav, do you think I know it's in hindsight, but do you think it was a mistake getting rid of Ivan Toney, or just was he not good enough at the time?
It's so difficult to place it because we often play such shit football. It's difficult to gauge how good some of the players actually are, who you're playing with and how we play. Obviously, he's been down in the Championship, so that's like a different level. And, you know, banging the goals in, I don't know, it's so difficult because the Premier League's like a different level when you're playing those sorts of teams. But as you say, it's all hindsight, maybe. Looking at some of the dross that we've played this season, maybe not. He might not have been any better in a Steve Bruce set-up type squad. I'm really not sure, actually.
No, Steve Bruce wouldn't play him because he thought he was absolute Pep Guardiola today, playing with no strikers. So, you know, only just sitting there. But yeah, Rob says here that Tony will stay at Brentford up, I reckon. Yeah, he probably will. Unless, you know, I can't see a big team going for him. I can see maybe, you know, Aston Villa did the whole Watkins situation, Crystal Palace did Eze. Well, there was a couple of, you know, players from the Championship that did come up last season. So maybe one of them teams, but I can't see like a top, you know, a big 6 Premier League team going for him yet. And we've got a couple of comments about St. Maximin here as well. St. Maximin Set Club, we've done that one. ASM at PSG. I can see him playing at PSG, but he doesn't really, you know, replace like a Neymar or anyone like that. Even like Di Maria, I don't think, unless anyone leaves, I can't see him replacing anyone.
You know what I took his interview as the other day? Because obviously he replied to me because we're best friends. What I took from it was that he was putting out a little bit of a warning shot that if things don't change, I could see him looking in January if we start off the season shit. Like I said, it's the first time I've ever heard him speak about seeing his future anywhere other than Newcastle. And there's that big hype over his new contract. And then he was injured and then he was missing. And his season for me has been so inconsistent with how he plays. He can turn up and play an absolute blinder, but then we've also seen him turn up and play absolutely shite. And I just feel like he probably feels that it's the team around him and how we play and us struggling that's sort of
wasn't there like a couple of games where it was a case of he literally gets the ball and then he's on the floor, and he's like back on the floor again. It's like, what's going on? I don't think he'll go anywhere in January because everybody always knows that when it comes to January the prices are sky high. So I don't think he'd go anywhere in January, but I do think that was his basically saying, if this next season doesn't improve, then I'm gonna go. Which, in fairness, you can't blame him, really, can you? He's a really talented football player, and they do need to be selfish at times.
The only thing that concerns me of him is his injuries. He's so injury prone. It's like he's made of glass, and he's always how many matches have we seen him hobble off towards the end of, like limping, and you think, oh god, this is a big injury, and then it will turn out to be nothing. It's like he can't take a little knock. I'm not like no discredit to him, but he just seems really fragile when he's playing.
And if he has a bad game as well, he like limps around. Like you know, if he does a really bad pass or doesn't score a goal, he like starts like limping. Like, why? Just own it, embrace it, and you know, just carry on with the game. Like, get your head up, like other players do. Like, you know, that's probably why Richie is good for that, because he's like, you know, the leader, in my opinion, in the team. I think he's the leader. He gets everyone's heads up, you know, builds morale. But yeah, I can't see him going for 70 million. 50 I would have maybe thought was more likely, but 70 I just can't see. And Northeast Pro says, can't see Arsenal loaning out Willock to any club next season. They'll want to cash in him whilst he's hot property. That's probably true, as well as the fact that they now haven't got European football either, so they're going to want to rebuild their squad to get European football next year. And also it was said this week that obviously Willian is leaving, Danny Ceballos, well, he's going back to Real Madrid and ending his contract there, so he'll be, you know, probably a free agent in the summer. Odegaard isn't a permanent player either, unless they're going to try and make it permanent. I don't know, but I can see them wanting to keep Willock, honestly, which concerns me, because I don't want him to go back. I don't want him to be good, and I don't want him to sit on the bench either, because then he could have been at us. I just don't want him to go back. I just want him to be ours. I don't care what the situation is.
I think that's going to be one of his main factors of deciding it, because if Arsenal do decide to bring it to keep him and to keep and not sell him and not loan him out, the issue that you've got there is he going to get overshadowed by other players? Arsenal have the money to bring people in, and they have the money to replace Willock at the drop of a hat. So my chances, I reckon that they'll cash in on him whilst he is in form. I want us to be the ones to cash in on him. I'm not really sure what the situation is in relation to the fact that I saw the other day that our transfer is 12 mil.
That wouldn't be a shock, let's be honest.
Well, no, but to be fair, look what we said last time when they said the transfer kitty was 35 mil, and we were like, "Is it fuck?" And it turned out we spent 35 mil. So I don't know. I just think that they would probably, if they were to take him, they'd probably play him. They'd sub him a lot, and I reckon that he'd end most of the season on the bench. So he just needs to. He also needs to obviously to work out, because he'll get lost in Arsenal. He wouldn't be like, obviously in Newcastle, because of the squad that we do have. He stands out like a sore thumb with his talent, and I think he would get lost in Arsenal's team. That's one of my, when I tweeted earlier today, that's one of my things that I'm stressing over, is obviously him, where he goes. If he doesn't end up coming to us and they do sell him, where he goes is going to be a bother. But I don't know. I do not know.
Yeah, 100%. Do you think, based on form, obviously, Sam, I know your Euros team is obviously different to ours, but I know you follow it and you know what's going on. But do you think that he should be going to the Euros based on form? If Southgate picks on form, says that he does, I don't believe it. But if he says it does, do you think he should be going to the Euros? I think it's just too soon. He's just had a decent half season, and it's too soon for him to be going.
I think it's too soon. There's a player in there without a doubt. I just think even 2 of the games that he scored for us, he came off the bench. So I think he's coming into his own now. And if there were another 10 games in the season, he really might have a shot. Firstly, I don't think Southgate's going to pick on for him, because he's a liar. And when he first started, he said he would do that, and he just lied. And that really frustrates me. Yeah, it frustrates me about him as a manager, because I thought it would be different. But yeah, I think it's just a bit early for Willock, and same as Katie. I wonder where he's going to end up. I would love him to stay with us, because he would just be treated like a god. Like, he is a god. We sang to him that we wanted him to stay, and if we had any decency in our ownership, they would just be saying to Arsenal, name your price. We want to get it done early. My worry is, especially with the Maxi situation as well, that it's going to rumble. And we're going to wait on Willock as our number one target, because we like to wait on people as our number one target and then watch them go to someone else. Like, apparently Lingard was one of our number one targets. Why we decided that we would be the right fit for him. So that's what worries me. We're really indecisive. We're really slow. We might wait on him, and then Arsenal want to have a look at him in pre-season, and then other teams have weighed up what they want, and the decision's taken out of our hands. If he does go to the Euros, he's not going to be coming back to our club. That would be for sure.
Yeah, that's.
I think if he does go to the Euros, he'll go as part of the squad, but I don't think he'll play.
Yeah, 100. I mean, midfield in general for England is pretty stacked. Obviously, there's Mount, Grealish, Foden. They're just a few of them. There's loads of decent midfielders for England as well. So, obviously Declan Rice, who plays as a DM. Calvin Phillips, who always gets picked random. I don't even know why he's even in the squad. But I think it would be probably too soon. I was joking on Twitter saying, if he picks on form, he should go, which is fair enough. Yes, he should, but Gareth Southgate doesn't pick on form. Joe is only 21, and I know that's not an excuse, because obviously Phil Foden is a bit younger than that, and Mount's about that age, things like that. But yeah, I think probably if it was over a whole season, I would maybe be thinking yes, fair enough. But maybe it is too soon. But I'm going to go into a couple of questions now, because we have had a couple of questions in the comments. Obviously, we've had a few transfer questions, like who would you sign? We've had a few comments about Tammy Abraham, who is apparently going to be on sale for Chelsea. I think it's going to be, if we get Tammy Abraham, that would be very weird, because if we're not going to pay like that much for Willock, because Tammy Abraham is probably going to be around the same 35 million for him, because English player tax. He's coming from Chelsea. He's top goal scorer still. He's been top goal scorer every single club ever gone to in terms of loans, in even Chelsea, and he's barely even played. So he's going to be around that much. So I think that will be a very weird transfer if that was the main transfer. Why would you not just spend that on Willock, who you know can fit into the squad that you've already got? And what about you, Sav? Do you think Tammy Abraham will be a good option, or?
I don't think he'll be an option for us because I think they're going to want too much money for him.
Yeah.
I think we have got more chance of getting Joe. I'd take Joe Willock over Tammy Abraham because you've seen him play in a Bruce Ball type setup and he can still bang the goals in, which takes someone special, because look at the rest of our squad at the beginning part of the season when we was going through that 20-game lull. I just think, you know, we've all watched Joe Willock play. He seems to really get the fan base and, you know, he communicates with the fans, which not all the players do. And I think that's what we need, really. I think he'll be too much for us. I don't like, with the 12 million being batted around, it looks like it's going to be a little bit slim pickings this summer, doesn't it?
Yeah. We've even got Chelsea fans in Abraham to Newcastle, so you know that's never a good.
Looking at Arsenal fans that said the same about Willock, and we're like, "Oh, enjoy him, he's shit." The amount of Arsenal fans that said that when we were looking at Willock, and they were just like, "Yeah, you can have him, take him for free." Now, bit different in it.
Now, someone said they'd drive him to us.
Yeah, and when I was asking him, I was like, "Oh, he's an athlete. He's not very good with the ball. He's not like a ball control person. He's not a holding midfielder." Blah 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 blah. I must admit, Kesh and a gal who I do the terrace with, Kesh said, I don't know if it was Kesh or a gal, but one of them said that he would score at least 5 goals. So he's obviously scored 7. So, you know, they were pretty right about it. But everyone else was like, Willock. I mean, even we, when the signing happened, I mean, from speaking on your behalf, but from my point of view, I was like underwhelmed by the whole signing because I hadn't seen much of him. Obviously, all of the Arsenal fans' comments when I asked what Willock was like, I expected just to get Maitland-Niles in because he was more versatile at the time with what we needed. But you know, he's made me eat my words every single day. I was so wrong about him, and he would absolutely 100% be, like, if we were going to sign anyone, he would be my signing. I did see this on, I don't know if I said this on the show that I did yesterday on the Athletic Watch Along. Someone asked me like who I would sign, and I said Giroud, even for a year. He's going to be a free agent this summer, I believe. So,
how old is he now?
About 34, I think.
Yeah, but he didn't want to come to us.
No, he didn't.
And that's what frustrates me. You know, we've made a couple of attempts to bring him in, and he just doesn't want to come. And I mean, these players will flourish. You know, when teams are like, you know, we'll drive Abram to you, we'll take Willock to you, we'll do this and that. Like, they don't watch our football. They don't realise how grateful we would be for any of these players coming, because, you know, there's a lot of endeavour in our squad, but there's a real lack of quality. So these peripheral players that they are like, yeah, they're a bit shit, are probably going to be like world beaters in our team.
Yeah.
And, you know, Giroud at 36, Giroud at 37 would probably be a really good signing for us. So, yeah.
On Dwight Gale, isn't it? Because what was that header that he missed today? I don't know. Yeah, for me, it would be an improvement for Dwight Gale, but failing Giroud, I mean, Giroud's probably not even on our list. Abraham's not even on our list. Do you think there's a striker realistically that will sign? Is it a case of extending Andy Carroll's contract? I mean, you know, didn't even get a run out in case it's his last game today. Is there anyone that you think that we would sign, like any of yours? I can't even think off the top of my head of a striker that would even come, like who would, you know, like, as unless it is a Giroud who is a free agent, but there will be teams after Giroud. It's not going to just be us. As Sam said, he's refused just a few times, but I can't think of anybody right now in this current situation, like who would even come.
I agree with Jez's comment, and I've said it on a couple of the shows that I would bring Adam Armstrong in all day, every day, because he knows the club. He's been on quite the learning curve because we almost ruined him as a player. And we have discount on that deal as well. He's still young. I feel like he's been around for so long, but I think he's 24 or 25. You can't tell me that he isn't a better option than Dwight Gale or Andy Carroll.
100%,
so
100%.
I'd be doing everything to get him in.
We have got, as you said, there is a percentage though, isn't there? Like, there's a percentage.
It's like 40%. It's really high.
So
And he's
it's
second highest goal scorer in the championship. So people that are like, no, I would take him, I'd take Tony. There's a couple of goals in it. And he's,
Yeah.
you know, he's worked hard in the championship to get there. Coventry first and then Blackburn. And Blackburn, the fact that he's second highest and they are, you know, bottom half of the table side, the guy works hard. So I don't think anyone should be sticking their nose up at the thought of him coming back to play for the club, because that's kind of where we are.
Yeah, 100%. And we always championships.
I'd
shot.
absolutely love
Say
him.
that then. You are?
I'd absolutely love to get Armstrong. I'd absolutely love him.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
he'd do
I
really
mean-
well. I think he'd do really well with Wilson and Maxey. And if we kept Willock, I reckon that would be fantastic.
Yeah, there is a as well. Go for Armstrong and offer Gale as part of a deal. Why not?
Yeah, let him go.
That would be good.
Dwight
That
Gale's
would
not interested for us anymore. He really infuriates me. I'd rather
we
have
go
Andy
again.
Carroll on over. What?
Here we go again.
No, I'd rather have Andy Carroll on over Dwight Gale. He's making me angry every time I see him, and I hate to be like it because he was great for us in the champ. Stop laughing. He was great for us in the championship, but every time I see him come on as a sub, I'm like, why don't you put Andy Carroll on? Because at least he's more entertaining to watch. Like Dwight Gale just goes missing now for me. He doesn't care. He's definitely the mole. I can say it all along. One day,
you were going to say
one
that.
day he will be exposed, and it is Dwight Gale. I tell you that now. You heard it here
Steve
first.
Bruce. Steve Bruce created them all and said it didn't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, and trust me, they haven't heard it here first, Sav. You've been going on about it for weeks.
Yeah, but you know, heard it from me first. I could be the new in the know person. I'm not really in the know. I know nothing, but you know, I can make it up as I go along.
Oh, like everyone else does.
We've got a comment. I think we've just answered it about Lascelles. Do you think Newcastle need another centre back?
Yes.
Yeah,
We need a young centre back. We have everyone's like late 20s, 30s.
And that what you know that really worries me about the age of our team. Our team is quite an old team. It
Yeah.
really does
We'll
get
end up like
that's what
Palace.
worries me about the injuries.
Defensively, yeah.
Contracts and age.
Dallas. I think Stuart Dallas is amazing. Just got a couple of comments here about Willock as well. Arsenal won't let him go for less than 35 million, but no chance he leaves now. Probably not. You're right. I don't want to accept it. Okay, I don't want to accept that he's not coming back. Stop telling us, because I know. I want to accept it, right? Because I had to accept it with Lloyd Gremmy. I had to accept it with Jetro Willems, and I had to accept it with Salomon Rondon. And I'm not ready to accept that Willock will never play in black and white again, right? Okay, so I know, but just. Stop. Stop. Is Andy Carroll still at the club? Yes, he is. Exactly. The way that is, because he is at the club, unfortunately.
He comes on and plays about a minute in a game.
Yeah, 30 seconds appearance. Love it.
He's quite.
One. You saying something there, Sav?
She might be shouting at her dog.
Hold on, something weird happened. I'm back.
You're back. What were you going to say?
I said he's quite funny on Insta though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I love that side of him.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't know what the hell's going on with the team half the time.
Like, he's good crack, isn't he? He's good crack. But other than that, we've got a comment from Steve here. Take away Willock, St. Maximin, Wilson, and Dubravka. Who's impressed you most this year? So I did have a couple of questions. Well, not questions, but a couple of categories. And I was going to say, let's give each of us a player for the category. So obviously, the first one was player of the season. Obviously, Callum Wilson did get it this week, which I thought was well deserved. However, he has been injured a lot. So maybe there was other options. Obviously, you can't give it to Joe Willock because he was only a loan signing, but he probably would have got it for me just for the impact that he's had. Obviously is St. Maximin in there, Dubravka as well, but every single one of them, this is an indictment of our season. Every single one of them's been injured over a lengthy period of time at some point in the season. So for you guys, Sam, I'll come to you first. Who is your player of the season?
Ooh, you know, as you said, it's really difficult because there's so few players that have played consistently. You know, even Richie just coming back in the last, 15 games. I'm going to go with who I think I chose this player last season as well. I'm going with Federico Fernandez again this year because he's last man standing with so many injuries. And I think, did he have COVID? He had a bit of time out himself, but, you know, he's finished the season again playing with fullbacks either side of him. I don't know why Kieran Clark has been left on the bench, but I think he had a bit of a dip a couple of games ago, and I was a bit critical of him, and I don't know what the reason for it was, but I just think he's been immense. £6 million from Swansea. We've had so many issues in defence, and this guy, when he's available, he plays. He's calm. He leads, especially when Dubravka's behind him. I honestly think he's the leader that Lascelles used to be. Although I'd like him to be a bit more vocal. So for me, again, as stated, because there's just been so many injuries and so many people out at different times, he would be the most consistent person for me. So I'll go with Fernandez.
Yeah, 100%. Everyone in the comments, let us know who your player of the season will be as well. Obviously, I know there's not non-Newcastle United fans in here, but any Newcastle United fan, let us know who your player of the season is. Katie, who's yours?
Darlow. You can't really go for the most of the guys that you would go for because they've not played consistently with their injuries that they've had. But Darlow really shocked me, and I think he shocked everyone because he's Dubravka is amazing, absolutely amazing. And when we knew that Dubravka was going to be out for so long, it was a case of we're fucked. And he came in and he literally surprised the hell out of me. I thought he had some amazing saves. He was a lot more vocal than I thought he'd be. He was a lot more vocal than the guys at the back. But I just thought it was fantastic. I thought he was a really good player. And he played consistently for so long. So mine's definitely got to be Darlow.
Yeah, 100%. Sav, who's yours?
Well, I'm not going on what everyone thinks I would. Like, if we're going for best hairstyle, obviously. And also, I'm not going to go for Matt Ritchie because I think that would just be really predictable of me. I'm going to go for someone, actually, that probably no one else would go for because he surpassed what I thought he was going to do at the beginning of the season, and that's Jacob Murphy. I think that he applies a little bit to our squad. He's like Willock rushes forward and things like that. He also does that, not as quite as profound because of the position that he plays in, but he's fast off the ball. He gets into the right positions. And I just think, if you think at the beginning of the season, I thought, he was a bit meh. He hasn't been like that at all. And I think he's been quite good for us this season. So yeah, Jacob Murphy for me.
Yeah, amazing. I agree with every single one of your choices. For me, again, I agree with Sam. Federico Fernandez would have been mine just for his consistency again. He did have a period out of injury as well. I think every single player practically at this point has either had a spell on the sidelines or injury. So I think it would be really hard unless anyone was going to go for Shelby, but I don't think anyone will. So that is that. I mean, I'm surprised that more people haven't said like maybe Miguel Almiron, but in my opinion, I don't think he's had a good season.
He hasn't.
For me, I don't know if anyone was honest.
He did have a good start to the season, but he just kind of fizzled out.
Yeah, and he had that spell like Steve Bruce didn't play him for ages, and everyone was kicking off because like, why are we not playing him? And then he hasn't even like stepped up from that point. So it's actually crazy. Oh, actually, Craig's put in here. Thought Miggy did well for most of the season, but good points about Fernandez before. So obviously we've done player of the season. I'm going to try and get through this quickly because my phone's on 10%. I didn't go and get my charger because obviously clearly I was expecting my laptop, and my laptop has just failed me today again. So who was the worst player of the season? Shelby's mine. Who's yours, Sam?
God, I wasn't expecting that.
I'm going in before she takes mine. I'm going for Hendrik.
Oh. Why do you do this?
Hendrik, he hasn't even played. Emil Kraft. Oh no, I feel sorry for Emil.
Sav, you go. I can't think.
Right.
Why
I'm
did I
going
put
to
my hand
say, because I was going to say Hendrik, because when he came in, for some reason, I thought he was going to do really well for us. I don't know why I thought that. I was like, oh yeah, here he comes. I think because we waited so long.
Debut.
We waited for so long for the announcement as well. It took 5 years for him to have a medical. It was mad. I was just like, hurry up, just bring him in. So yeah, I was going to say him, but I'm going to say, and I'm not going to give much reasoning because I just you just keep going on. I'm going to say Dwight Gale for me, just because.
Cut the people say Gale.
Yeah, since after he came back from that knee injury, just not the same, and he looks not arsed, and I don't know.
Probably got a shout as well because what has he done? Been injured half the time, like.
Who?
Fraser.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Yeah,
him as
well, that would be my choice. And I actually had a bit of a debate with someone earlier about Fraser, because you know he didn't want to play for Bournemouth. He dragged out his transfer to come to us. He's getting paid a lot of money. He hasn't been fit. He hasn't managed to get himself fit, but he's been fit enough to play for his international team, but then not fit enough to play for us. So I think there's more to the story. I don't know if he's particularly happy. He didn't want to sign until he knew that Wilson was signing. And yes, we could say that he might come good next season, but he might not. And I just don't think he's done anything of note this season to have picked up that big salary and have all those expectations. And I don't know about his temperament or his personality, and I don't know whether he's possibly a little bit disruptive if he was on the bench a lot. So I was so excited for him coming in, and I just think actually, yeah, he's been the biggest disappointment for me. Some of it not in his control, but I believe some of it is as well.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so I've got a couple more. So we've obviously done worst player of the season, we've done player of the season. Now I've got stayer of the season. If you could pick one player to stay, not get a transfer all season, who would it be? Sam, go for you again.
Dubravka.
Katie?
I'll just go for Willock, so then she can say Maxi.
No, because Sam's going to say Shah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, see, I'm just the shallow one, like who always talks last. No, actually, because I think he's more likely to leave in the summer because he's nearly left a couple of times. Matt Ritchie.
Yeah.
And I don't want him to go.
Kendall, say Maxi, please.
Yeah, well, maximum will be mine. Maximum will be mine.
That's all right. I'm all right now.
But also Callum Wilson, because he's my favourite. But yeah, Maxi, I guess. Because I mean, anyone playing with Maxi would kind of do okay. So yeah, Maxi for me. But Callum Wilson, love you. Okay, so I've done stayer of the season. Who is your? I just thought of these before the stream. Who is your go away of the season? Stayer and go away. Who is the first player you get rid of? For me, it would be Dwight Gill. Sam.
Jamal Lascelles.
Hey.
Andy Carroll.
He is good anyway, isn't he? Sam.
Perfect for me. I'm not being horrible.
Oh, it's so difficult. Jeff Hendrick.
That's all good.
I even said that over John Joe Shelby, just because at least John Joe Shelby plays games, I suppose, in a way.
You know what I said earlier? Oh, that comment's gone away. Where has it gone? It just said, I thought Lascelles. Oh, here it was. I thought Lascelles was good. I said, anyone who doesn't follow Newcastle thinks Lascelles is good. But honestly,
he makes so many mistakes, and it's just like, why have you done that? How have you done that?
Yeah, he does it all the time. He made like the same mistake 3 games in a row, and it really annoyed me. Like just after Christmas, and it was just frustrating. I'm like, he headed the ball back to them, lost it, and then obviously they scored on the counter attack, and it just really annoyed me. But yeah,
he's one of the worst as well for staying with his man.
Yeah,
one of the worst.
Absolute facts. And his leadership qualities is all gone since Rafa. So yeah, a strange one for me. And I think he is a tangible asset. So you know that wouldn't mind if him and Darlow can maybe go back to Forest in the summer. I don't know, but I mean, get Freddie Woodman back only if that happens. But I have seen Carl Darlow at Middlesbrough. I don't know if that's true or whether that's happening, but I have seen that lately. So finally, I want a rating of the season out of 10. Sav, I'll come at you first. We'll go backwards this time.
4, not because it was exciting. That's me being a little bit generous, but we have finished in 12, so I suppose to an extent you can't complain. But what we have watched and what we have witnessed all season would have it as a 4 for me.
Yeah. Katie?
5. Purely based on the last few games, it's got a 5. Because the last few games that I've enjoyed watching us. Apart from, well, I didn't really watch. I was busy today, but apart from that, I've enjoyed watching them. And if that performance had started the way that it had when we started with West Ham, it would have been higher.
Yeah. Sam?
I gave it a 6 for the accumulation of points.
Oh, I love
it. So OCD friendly.
No, fine. Obviously we've got a couple of 6 in here. We've got a 4/5. Would have been a 3 had it not been for the last 8 or 9 games. Very true. Rob again's gone for a decent 6, but what we actually watched was a 4. That's also very true. For me, based on the football this season, it would be a 5 as well. The latter half of the season has been a lot better. With the latter third, I would say, of the season been a lot better. Prior to that, was like a 1. It was absolutely horrendous. But honestly, for like this whole season, because things have changed so much for us. I know, like we started well, not this podcast, but we started podcasting, you know, in the summer and leading this season. I've met all you guys, we've met everyone else who we've done podcasts with, you know, and it's been like amazing for us. And now we've come to an end. It's a kind of crazy, but obviously we'll still do it. We'll still be back next season, but we might be in the ground, so it might be different then. The Euros are coming up. We've got loads of things, but for me, like for that respect, it is absolutely a 10 out of 10 for me on that. More further, because I couldn't have even imagined this time last year like this would be a regular thing for me. It's absolutely crazy. But look at that, isn't this funny, right? So I'm doing a little bit of thing on sexism in football at the moment. We've got a lovely comment here from Business Plan. The game has gone soft. A bunch of misfitted women trying to discuss football. Get back in the kitchen. Thank you so much, Business Plan, for your comment. That just rounds off this wonderful piece of, what would you say, news that I'm putting together for sexism in the football. So thank you very much for you know, playing your part in that. I really do appreciate that, and you're going to get your 5 seconds of fame probably, so thank you for that. But ladies, it has been a pleasure. This season hasn't been a pleasure, but meeting you has been a pleasure. This whole show has been a pleasure. Obviously we'll still do a couple more. We have got a Q&A coming up as well. If anyone wants to head over to the Twitter page, which is at Howay Lasses Pod. So if you send us a question there or just DM one of us on Twitter, we can also do that.
So that's on Wednesday. So on Wednesday, I think we agreed 7. So Wednesday at 7, we'll answer any question you send to us, apart from bra sizes and shit like that. We're not idiots. We've had a lot of questions about the previous show we were on. And we have promised and sworn to be honest and tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Yeah, 100%, and we will do that. So if anyone, as I say, if anyone wants to get any questions in, let us know. Get at us on the Twitter page or any one of us. But thanks again, ladies. It's been absolutely brilliant, and I hope you all have a lovely week without having to watch Brucey Ball. I think that's probably a 10 out of 10 from all of us, not having to watch that again until we start again in August. But see you next time, everyone. Thank you for everyone's comments and all of the positivity as well. We really, really do appreciate it. But we'll see you next. Well, we'll not see you next season because we'll see you before that. But in terms of Newcastle United, we'll see you next